Ma, you're narrating, and you're the main character. Julia.
Hey. Welcome to my castle. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. And out of the window sometime after midnight. Earlier. The kingdom is not of this world. It lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. Try to identify the way people reach it, convinced it has something to do with the moon. Some say the moon's aura can turn them insane. Phrases moonstruck and lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them some subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. And so, whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, different. As they pass the doorstep, ready to act out. Dance of horrors and marvels ends. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to Big Beat Burger. If you're here at this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. Likely you're praying that the sunrise never comes. Insatiable children of the night gather around, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories. Unwind after... Ooh.
Sorry.
Okay. Should I start again from the second paragraph?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Insatiable children of the night gather around, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories. Unwind after a frustrating series of failures. Fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here, really reveling in every interaction they have. No idea they are only here for my amusement. Them, just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. Been coming here almost every night for years. Where to sit, where to look, eavesdrop for maximum amusement. Basically a voyeur, and unashamed to admit it. Gave me insight about the human condition I'd never otherwise have gathered. More importantly, a necessary skill set to make ends meet as a journalist. I write on my crappy old laptop, waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, keep my senses peeled to pick up stories around me. Of course, a lot of regular events such as food fights are nothing to write home about, aside from my unfortunate tendency to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. To this day, I've had to wash my clothes because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of revised honey mustard bomb. Dane tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting. It's disturbing. Sometimes it's dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years here have made it absolutely worth it. So many stories, I don't know where to begin. Cold breakups, impromptu morning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fires of senseless battle. Lady in a gorgeous Givenchy dress or in a box of takeout chicken nuggets. Cash with her hands completely covered in blood. Was asked if she wants a napkin. No. Two thirsty macho dudes shamelessly going for it in the corner. Hushed moaning filling the lobby while everyone around valiantly fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. Straight up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode. All the windows. Big guy left the joint fully convinced that he KO'd himself, while the service worker was just standing next to him. Proud of his victory, too. Middle-aged hag. Heart attack after screaming her lungs out not to let Muslims near her food. Because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. Masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, employees to cook at gunpoint. Police later said those were art students, reenacting some hipster book they read. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. It's the noise that serves as a foundation for my creativity. The soma that keeps me going. This is... As pathetic as it may sound, these days, it's the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, in on these people's stories, emotions, and personalities, because I'm not satisfied with mine. Sometimes I think of my psyche as some kind of shitty postmodern construct that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, yearns for something felt and truthful. Does this even make any sense? Look at this. I look at the screen of my laptop. 8:47 a.m. At this point, I'm almost somnambulic. Nothing interesting has happened yet. The customers are watching each other tonight, for the others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Go find your own. It's time to call it a night. The coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. Reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. God damn. This is pure trash. Hold the backspace button until the Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate, sound of deep relief. No pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than ragging on someone even worse than them. Target is easier than the dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago. Time again. Need to go. Have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I have a hunch it's not going to end well. It's not because I'm an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee to simply function on a basic level despite, 4 hours of sleep. Because I always have a hunch things are not going the way they're supposed to. Clack, click, click, clack. Loud clatter of keyboards assaults me from all sides. It's this splitting headache unbearable. To be dreamed of nothing else but being a part of the New York Lodestar editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly. Magazine I ever bought for myself. Now simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood. Never mind seeing all these old farts throwing in more reactionary opinion columns and Wikipedia-level analysis of current events. Clap, click, click, clap. You should destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. To my thinking about politics, art, journalism. It pointed me toward my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. And some talented people started leaving for greener pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neurises, became complacent. Some of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed necessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. Whenever someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar, it's of a few idealistic contributors willing to accept their pay while putting in serious work. A masses. Other than that, the magazine specializes in publishing pale echoes of provocative ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for a decade. No wonder the readership is in free fall. Though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. Then If anyone from the outside world attempts to board the vessel in hopes of fixing its course and its holes, it will be swiftly taken care of. No. Been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with his writing. Lodestar's editor-in-chief, Brian Ng, seen in front of me right now. He only has time for editorials these days. In the sea of needs, managerial duties hit him hard. It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. Peace. Now it's up for me to react, and I'm coming up blank. What do you want me to say, Brian? Stop! I can tell you've already made up your mind, but you still want to go through the motions, just to make me feel listened to. Whatever, let's do this.
Your choice.
Ben is a sexual harasser, Brian. I feel stupid that I even have to say this out loud, but essentially covering up for a sexual harasser, Brian.
Tom.
No, I'm not.
No, just face it. The Harvey Weinstein story appeared on your desk instead of reaching the New York Times.
Don't you compare me to the Times. You know that's a low blow.
You're asking for it, and you're not exactly in a position to talk about low blows here.
You know that's not the core of the issue.
You're avoiding the core of the issue.
Oh, I believe I've pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I'd greenlight the article here and now, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
You're killing the article just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it.
Real. This is not about some millionaire jerk calling me to make an offer I can't refuse.
What is this about then? Because it looks awfully like...
About my bosses telling me this outlet can afford legal action we have already been threatened with.
So, millionaire interference.
For crying out loud, Julia, don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. Publish your story. It's Thiel versus Gawker all over again. A lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we're bled dry. Have a mortgage. 3 mouths waiting to be fed at home. Have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn apart over some...
Don't you think is telling you mentioned your mortgage first? Silence. Asking questions.
No better than to get into these empty semantic arguments with you, Sawinski. Good at them. Problem is, you're still not good enough.
Mean?
Too in love with weaving a good story. Establishing a seductive narrative to let facts get in the way.
Got enough boring suits with no principles on board these days. They always give you facts because that's all they can do. Using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth.
Except facts can blindside you. Double Spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative. They're doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but will put every little thing in question.
See, Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead.
Julia.
Let me say it again. See, Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic head. You personally believe it or not.
This is not...
Listen to the tapes. the transcripts, you've seen the documents, you've got the files. I'm asking for a personal opinion. Believe it or not. Clack. Clack. Click.
Of course I do, but that's beside the point.
It's not. Look, how about I just say it out loud and save us both some time? I'm not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. Set up this meeting knowing very damn well there is only one way it's going to end. Got a mortgage and 3 mouths to feed. You prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concept of greater good. Get it? I really do. But for some reason, it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation and rationalizing your decision so that you officially exonerate.
Not the bad guy here, Julia.
Yes, you are. I think you are, Brian.
Julia.
I know you're generally a decent guy, so you must have prepared something you can say to turn this ship around. I'm still waiting for you to say it. Made you deal with the devil. You're not the type to sell your soul, so just tell me. Can you make this up to reset your karma? Got. He mutters something under his breath, a self-pitying chuckle.
Bad guy, decent guy, a victim of circumstance. I don't know if you really care about the distinction. To be honest, as Lodestar's editor-in-chief, all I've got for you is something to make you think I'm the biggest scumbag in the universe.
Come on, don't turn this into a pity party.
No, I'm absolutely a scumbag.
Why is that?
Because I'm firing you.
My thoughts are scrambled. Brief moment, the state of my bank account displays before my eyes with startling clarity. Howling void opens in my chest and starts traveling towards my stomach. No, don't panic yet, you idiot. More information now. There must be a catch. Is this final?
Told me there will be consequences if the outlet ever picks up your work again. Shouldn't even be telling you that. Did everything in my power to change their mind. Sorry.
They? Who is this? Glances left and right, and points upward for a short moment. He speaks up again in a hushed voice.
No. Big kahunas. Can't really question them. I wanted your head on a silver plate.
Not looking me in the eye. Not joking.
Would never joke about stuff like this.
It's real. In hell, it's real. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it all to hell! Here's all this grind on my plans, and for what fucking asshole you know I deserve better, and I always deserve better, and it always ends with me going down the drain back to the sewers. Fuck! No. A few deep breaths. Don't lose the plot now. Together, you idiot. The moment you show weakness, they go for your throat. Back in control. Can't do this.
Wish I didn't have to, but it's a lost cause.
No, I mean, it's impossible.
Julia.
Can't fire someone who's never been hired in the first place. Takes him a few seconds to put on his "oh, I get it" face. Troubled gasp and start massaging his temples. CoStar has been my biggest source of income for the past few years. That much is true. Technically, nobody has ever hired me here. It's all freelance jobs. Full-time position only served as a kind of a dangling carrot. Promise of a decent pay grade, career perspectives, maybe even some kind of insurance to save my failing health. And the recognition I would get for being a part of the low-star team, that everyone around me seems to respect, aside from me. And why did I want it so much? Will be a time to mourn what could have been. Now, to act like I don't care.
Know what I mean? If I let you work, even under a fake name, it would be a guillotine for me.
It's ridiculous. I'm going to start shopping the story around the second I leave this room, don't you?
Of course I know. Told him.
Your response?
Let us worry about that.
Oh, that doesn't sound ominous. That doesn't sound ominous at all. It clack, clack, click. Do wonder if I could get accustomed to one of these loud mechanical keyboards some people here love to use. Whenever I did my work in here, I expected to bring my own crappy laptop and sit closer to the lobby. Always on the outside, no matter how hard I try to break in. Vibration in my back pocket. Bad omen. Decided to ignore it for now. I've been working on this fucking story for 16 months on and off.
No.
Kept cheering me on.
I know.
I've even agreed on the pay I'd receive.
I know.
2 months behind on my rent. No, wait. Half. Catch him off guard. Entirely taken aback. Gives me an empathetic stare. Look at me this way. You don't have the right.
Didn't know.
Well, now you do.
If there's anything I can do to help.
You can't tell your fuck off. I don't think there's a single thing.
Yeah.
Pull out a smoke and light it up. Back in control.
Please don't do that. There's a smoke detector here.
Worries. Nick turned it off a few weeks ago. The most creative thing he's done in the past 5 years. Old Nick, the perfect 21st century cinema reviewer, never has an original thought of his own, just relies on his purely algorithmic taste to stay likable. The thing is, it works. Funny, I used to dream about his job. It was Brian who killed this dream, making me realize Nick won't be unseated anytime soon, and offered to teach me the ways of an investigative journalist instead. It wasn't the career I ever wanted to pursue, but to my dismay, I turned out to be surprisingly good at it. The Montgomery thing happened. Serves me right. Lesson learned. I've pursued my dreams instead.
Stop it. Nicholas is a good friend. Respected critic. A member of my team. And put out that smoke. People tell me, let you step all over me. Why do I even let you act this way?
Because you once told me honesty is most important in a mentor-student relationship. Works both ways. Because I thought we were friends. To slip, stares sideways to avoid my eyes.
At the end of the day, bosses aren't friends. Must have been a terrible mentor if I didn't teach you that.
We're still responsible for me. Oh, no, you're not getting off this hook that easily. Still my mentor, and I will make sure you take responsibility. Getting rid of me, at least point me in the right direction. Get my shit together, fast, and I can't do it on my own.
Fair. Might have failed as a guide, but I will do what I cannot. I will do what I cannot to leave you stranded, okay? There are options. None of them are a remedy for all your troubles, but...
Wait a second. Vibration in my pocket. The foreboding feeling. I reluctantly take the smartphone out of my pocket. It's to rain, not let it pour. New email. The lengthy one. The sender. Speak of the devil. No, this can't be. Iced. Just got an email from Mila Lopez. Claims she's just been laid off from Double Spiral as Ike Antonoff and Jared Rivera.
What happened?
Spare you all her insults, okay? The thing is, it seems her HR knows all the confidential information about my journalistic investigation to shut everyone's mouth. Apparently, Montgomery walked up to Lopez as she was emptying her desk and told her to thank me for being a, quote, and careless cunt. And goes pale. I think he has a very good reason to. You fucking scumbag! My sources?
What? Of course not. What are you even saying?
Oh, don't you dare play coy. It must have been either you or me, no one else, and you know the way I work. Investigation was basically untraceable, both on and offline. Really picked meeting spots, encryption upon encryption. Every direct quote rewritten 5 times, just in case. Red herrings scattered around. I know my shit. You know I do. This timing? Did you just pass a flash drive to your beloved Big Kahunas during a meeting as a sign of goodwill?
Look, I get you're upset, but why don't we just talk this through calmly?
Okay, let's take it step by... Fuck you! He takes the wheel, and I'm just here along for the ride. Can't do anything about it. Deranged way, realizing you're just a passenger in your own body feels liberating. See it all unfold. Lee? Fuck you, Brian.
Julia!
Been paranoid for months and months, acting like everyone I didn't know was an assassin or a corporate spy. Haven't messed up, not in a way that would implicate all of them. You, goddamn! You thought you could get away with this?
I haven't done anything improper. Don't push the blame on me.
So what? You're claiming it's my fault? Because you're never the guilty one. It's the bosses, the economy, the obligations you have, and now me?
Being silly. Quit with this martyr bullshit. I'm down, or I'll have to...
One moral shithead. Motherfucking...
I'm down, for God's sake!
So it goes. I had a lot of words I wanted to say for a long time, but held back. A lot of insults I've been workshopping for years, hoping I'd never use them. Like a few things. Times, for a split second, I see pity in somebody's eyes. It's gonna haunt me for a long time, but in the heat of the moment, you don't care. People, no, this company has nothing left to offer me, so at least let me take this catharsis. The end, A security guard has to escort me out of the building. That's the end of my journalistic career. I just feel like my world has crumbled into nothing.
Natalie.
I mean, you have every right to. Like, Jesus. If I were you, I would have already broken down into a sobbing mess.
I'd love to, but I'm on the subway. You're proud to cry in public. Even now. And... Stupid. But I feel like someone out there keeps destroying everything I hold dear, just to see my reaction. It was a prank show, and someone was waiting to record me crying. So, out of sheer spite, doing my best not to cry. You, whoever, and wherever you are.
That's the most Julia Sawinski thing I've ever heard. Spite as the... Maybe that's a typo. Spite is the greatest motivator, huh?
I'm not feeling particularly motivated to do anything right now, to be honest. I want to stay in my bed until my shithead landlord calls the cops to forcefully evict me.
Not surprised. Shit. I know that whenever life decides to fuck you over, it's always one thing after another. But this is too much.
How much is too much? We capped this last week of June 2019. I've been kicked out of my job. Well, not that I've ever been hired. Just say my mentor broke every vague promise he's ever made to me. Big thing I've been working on for a year and a half. On the toilet. It's all useless. Boss didn't protect my sources properly. Now they keep trying to reach me through every possible channel to threaten me or just yell at me. I have every right to react like that. All of my side gigs were shut down. Nobody's replying to my emails. Someone's been dragging my name through the mud behind the scenes, and it worked.
I still have no idea who's sending these shitty messages around. I've been asking, but...
Listen, don't worry about it.
I'm not going to stand idly by and watch you get canceled by some mean-spirited, delusional...
He said, don't worry about it. I have 3 unread messages from my landlord. Message previews were stressful enough. Came from Chicago. Apparently Dad has bladder cancer. I was in hysterics. She'd go crazy if she heard about my situation, so I have to pretend everything is okay whenever she calls. She calls every day. Just won't hang up before she offloads all her burdens on me. Can't blame her because we all had to learn to cope with Dad's psychopathic tendencies somehow. Robbed. My documents and what little money I had, gone. I don't know when or where it happened, and it's driving me crazy because I'm always extremely wary of pickpockets. The list goes on. I want to sound paranoid. It really feels like a concerted attack.
Paranoid is good. Anyway, I know you always hand-wave this topic away, but just remember that if anything happens, my place is your place. You don't have to get through it alone.
I've been a trouble magnet, and as self-centered as I may be, to affect you. No. Listen, I have another call.
Alright. Just call me if anything happens, no matter how dumb it seems, okay? And swing by whenever you can.
I will. Thank you. See you. Put my phone away, pale and blankly stare in front of me. Christ. Glance at my reflection in the window. Look at this idiot. Whenever the situation requires me to dress formally, I'll feel a bit like a child cosplaying as an adult. Just follow the dress for the job you want advice. You're dressing up like a trust fund kid who keeps partying on Brooklyn rooftops for years without a care in the world. Only after a while that I realized the car is empty. Truly so. I start feeling uneasy. but someone enters my peripheral vision. That's the last thing I consciously register. It dissolves. I come to, I'm out of the subway. The back alley I don't recognize. Dark. My eyes start adjusting and I try to figure out what happened. The gun in my hand. Faint silhouette at my feet. Not moving. Somebody stands in front of me, covered in shadows. Can't fully make out her face, staring at me with visible intent. She speaks. Her voice is raspy and androgynous. Her tone and mocking.
Lenny? Lenny, are you there? Kelly, you cover.
Maybe Discord's having issues? Oh, they just typed. They said they're going to reset something.
Okay.
Hello?
Alright, we can hear you now.
Alright. I activated the push to talk, but then it just didn't let me talk when I pushed the button, so sorry about that.
It's fine.
Didn't push out enough.
Aren't you a nasty one?
What's going on? Who are you?
Don't play coy.
My mind goes blank. Look at the ground. There's a body riddled with bullet holes. And I recognize who it is. Was. Corpse belongs to Mike Antonoff, the double spiral whistleblowers. Source. Just threatening to get back at me a few hours ago. I can feel even the tiniest bit of compassion. It's a terrible realization. People think I'm guilty. Oh my god. Am I guilty? How is this real? It wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't even know what's going on. Listen, I was just riding the subway.
Again, don't play coy. You knew him. He was mad at you. You started telling him sob stories about your situation. He wasn't having none of it. You got mad. Things escalated. He died.
It isn't true. It's plausible, but that doesn't make it true. Does it? Just a nightmare. Doesn't even make sense. It must be a dream. It isn't. The person in front of me must be responsible. The faint voice in my head, screaming that it's her world. It's living in it. What the fuck have you done to me?
Nothing yet, but I'll do what I can to get you locked up for life. This is a murder in the first degree with special circumstances.
Detached voice and nonsensical tone only reassures me this can't be real. I used to believe it is. Before I even managed to think this through, the gun at her. If I did murder him, I'd be acting like that. You'd be standing in front of me, you'd be running away, calling the police, begging for help, yelling that I'm a psycho.
Oh, you are a psycho. I'm not a coward. I won't let you walk out of here alive.
This doesn't make a single lick of sense. Fill up in my eyes. Why are you doing this?
Because sometimes one has to confront what they're really made of.
No two ways about it. She's gotta be nuts. Slowly but surely, walking toward me. Stop right there. I'll shoot.
Go on. It's the only way you can get off the hook, isn't it? The only way you can survive. But you will definitely prove you are the monster I claim you are.
The fuck is this tone? Trolling, inauthentic, patronizing. Serious.
For your own sake, you'd better be.
Keeps getting closer. Maybe I did kill Antonov. Maybe I don't deserve to live. Maybe it's less tiring not to live. Just let her take care of me. Maybe I will just wake up. Maybe this insane reality needs to be rejected as finally as possible. A world that wants to destroy me deserves to be destroyed. Right in front of me. Now or never. Oh, shoot. Close my eyes and squeeze the trigger. Loud bang echoes through the alley. I'm afraid to look at what I've done. I've been to a shooting range once, absolutely horrified by pistols. Small thing. Easily puncture a hole in the fabric reality is made of. Never knew I'd be able to use it against another human being. The thought makes me want to puke.
You were a right choice, after all. I'm so glad. You haven't allowed yourself to break, but you've crossed the line I needed you to cross. There's a silent flame in you that could become an inferno if left unchecked. I sure hope it will.
She's still alive? Her voice is coming from behind me. Puts her hands around my waist. Cold mouth touches my neck. On my shirt getting violently torn off. I stand, but I'm too dazed to protest.
That was your final test. Congratulations. You have proven yourself worthy.
I can feel something sharp sliding into my neck. Too painful, just startling. A doctor pushing a needle into your vein without a proper warning. It's me. Your bliss. Dopamine receptors I've considered completely fried until now suddenly recover and start bombarding me with fear I've never known before. Finally let the tears go. Flooding. They've been waiting for years. It's such a relief. Is it raining? I feel like I'm in the middle of a divulge at least. You know, away all of my fears, all of my sorrows, all of my anger, all of my pain, all of my ego. Become one with the world and the woman behind me. She's holding me tight, making me feel like the only important thing in this world. Everything else blurs. I feel something intense toward her, something I've never felt before. Is love? I hope it is. It's not you. There's a familiar, cynical voice in the back of my head. It's okay. Never felt particularly fond of me anyway. New York, perfect. Please don't change a thing. He who laughs in the shadows always has the last laugh. Hallelujah! Praise be! Everything is cliche, nothing is. Isn't that the ever-distant utopia I've been chasing all along? People on the other trains, I hope you're doing fine. God, shut up. Just enjoy it. Only understand. She's making love to me. Giving birth to me. She's burying me. Pretty sure I've been dead for a while. Pretty sure I could stare at my own corpse in her hands from a distance. Moment, somehow. Then I'm alive again. She lifts her mouth from my neck. Wait. Taste blood in my mouth. Hey, drinking her blood too? Why is that Whatever this was, it's over. To bask in the afterglow while I still can. Also immediately understand that I'm going to chase this fleeting feeling for the rest of my existence. Lee lets out a whisper, which concludes the ceremony.
No matter what happens next, don't forget, you're a monster. But you were lucky enough to be born into a world of monsters. So don't you ever mourn that fact. Embrace it.
Once again, I find myself in Big Beat Burger. Their surroundings, faces I recognize, same as it ever was. I'll process it in an entirely different way. It frustrates me now. Or more precisely, makes me frustrated with myself. Like I'm clinging to the remnant of a cocoon I've outgrown. It's the same with these cigarettes. I don't need them anymore. So why do I keep holding on to them? In hell! I refuse to accept that I'm something better than I used to be. Vampire. Just 2 nights ago, I met Caren. She embraced me, by which I mean into a kindred. Calls herself my sire, and me her... Child. Last night, she taught me the basics of survival. In blood, manipulating humans, bending steel, controlling shadows. Night, I expected more lessons. Instead, she just told me to go out and enjoy myself. What's the catch? I asked. But she responded, I might kill you if you prove to be disappointment. There are a few rules. I have to uphold the masquerade. I can't contact anyone I knew as a human. I can't let anyone realize that I'm not human anymore. To embrace anyone, and so on. Otherwise, I'm free to do whatever I want. For some reason, the first thing I did was come back here. But sigh hard. Caren is probably watching me from somewhere even now. The way I understand it, tonight she is supposed to introduce me to the Camarilla, local society of vampires. Turns out they are the ones who have been systematically ruining my life lately. All a part of some secret evaluation that I barely passed. Imagining the reach they have makes me dizzy. After they destroyed the old me that I barely cared about, Caren rebuilt me anew. On one hand, her test left some scars that will take time to heal. On the other hand, maybe I should just be grateful? I'm snapped. My thoughts by a sudden scream. Some douchebag yelling about his french fries not being salty enough. I think this is my cue to leave. Permanently. Goodbye, BBB. If I never see you again. I'm destined for greater things, you see.
Who do you want to visit?
First one. Lowers his eyes awkwardly to proceed with his rant.
James.
So it's like the conversation isn't really smooth, yeah? It's like I keep throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. But nothing seems to stick for long. You understand, yeah?
Yeah.
It's this really lack of context that's killing me about one's online dating. It's bad enough when a few photos and a single sentence are all you have to rely on when starting a new conversation, yeah? When a cosmic miracle finally happens and she's actually willing to keep replying to you, and she's actually down to meet you eventually, and you're out there sitting with her, and after 90 minutes you still don't have that shared context, and just no clue whatsoever. It's just like, take me out and put a bullet in my head and be out of my misery. So it's just one of those dates, and it's like, we've been sitting here for ages, and the only thing she has is a prolonged interest in getting hammered as possible. Just one drink after another. And the more drunk she is, the more familiar she's getting. It's these little things, you know. Touching my upper arm after each joke, her arm around my shoulder, her jokingly punching my waist. This escalation is subtle, but steady in addition. One recurring topic appears, and that is all that she's cool until she has, excuse me, and that is all the cool shit she has and wishes she could have shown me. And too bad it's all in the back of her apartment. That's when it hits me. She just wants to fuck, sleep with me.
No way.
Yeah. Well, eventually we both run out of ideas for topics and that could potentially be interesting for the both of us. So I'm just like, yeah, sure, I'd love to see all that crap in your apartment. So we Uber there, and it's admittedly a pretty nice apartment. Nothing too fancy, but I can tell her dad is kind of an asshole, and I'd like to punch in the face if I ever met him, you know what I mean? So she guides me into the kitchen and makes me some tea, a rare Indian blend. Forgot what it was 5 minutes later, and then she excuses herself and goes into the bathroom, and doesn't come back. 10 minutes later, I run out of tweets to read and become a little concerned. I start looking around. The first thing that catches my eye is the kitchen table.
And?
The table is surprisingly large, and it's covered in neatly arranged documents, like some connect the dots investigation board, mafia conspiracy kind of thing. Naturally, I take interest. Takes me 20 seconds to process what it is. Her entire mental health history, sorted chronologically, with all the juicy stuff neatly underlined in color. And I mean entire. It's all there. A detailed description of her fucked up household situation over the years, anxiety, ADHD, bouts of depression, suspicious of schizophrenia, severe BPD, some weird psychosexual stuff on her brother. I keep reading and remember what I said about throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks? I'm dead certain that's how her shrink went about diagnosing her. She finally comes out of the bathroom like an hour after she went in. At this point, I've read all the shit on the table 3 times, and not just the stuff that she's highlighted for my convenience. And I feel like right now I understand better than like someone who's read Crime and Punishment understands Raskolnikov. Sorry. And I'm not happy about that, like, at all. You know what I mean?
Huh?
She walks in with a cheerful, "Hi!" and responds with the slick, "All good?" And I respond with a slick, "All good?" She nods, does this weird finger gun thing, and chuckles. I pretend I've been doing work-related stuff on my phone the whole time. The small talk starts. A minute in, she casually picks up one of the documents on the table, and she starts doing these super obvious body language cues that are like, "Oh no, how'd this get here?" I'm practically dying inside, but I put on my cool face and I make it look like I'm not here. Sorry, gotta reply to my boss. Yeah, he's working 24/7, psycho motherfucker, yeah. She slowly collects all the documents, puts them away, and then nonchalantly asks me about some tame Impala while I'm feeling crushed by all kinds of trauma I've just been learning about. The apartment starts feeling like a coffin. All of a sudden, she picks up a kitchen knife and starts playing with it with this zoned out stare. I'm fucking mortified. So what do you think I did?
Slept with her. Slept with her.
Of course I slept with her. That's how the worst 6 months of my life began, and I couldn't even say I didn't see it coming. God, I'm such a slut.
Leans back and groans while hiding his face behind his palms. Look at his neck. Every vein seems so visible and impossibly alluring. I don't think I ever looked at anyone's neck like that. Realize I feel insanely thirsty.
I know.
Sure took a turn. Years ago, when this rant began, it was about continental philosophy.
What? Sorry, can you say that again?
Pretty drunk, barely able to focus on anything but his current train of thought. Just what I was hoping for. Years ago, when this... Never mind. Listen, it's stuffing here. I want to go out, get some fresh air.
You haven't touched your drink.
I mean, I would if I could. More alcohol for me. What? No, this one's not mine. Some dude brought it for me, but I don't want it. Scans the room with a death stare, looking for the guy who did it. Not realizing his best chance of finding him is in a mirror. Then he drinks like a half of my glass at once while looking around. He was hoping to prove his dominance over an unseen enemy.
Okay, after you.
Walking across a mostly empty street. He's focused on keeping upright and walking in a straight line. Focused on finding a spot where I can drink him up.
You seem like bad news.
Yeah? Why don't you just leave me alone?
Determinism, I guess.
I roll my eyes, and that's when I notice it. Deep, underlit stairwell. Look around and realize there's no one around. My chance. I immediately yank him downstairs. It's almost pitch black, but I can still see his face. He doesn't seem shocked. It's more like awkwardness.
Nah, listen. It's not that I never wanted to do this sort of thing in public. Quite the opposite. It's just that I need a certain degree of comfort to perform at optimal levels.
Shut up. Sink my fangs inside of his neck as he whimpers and becomes silent. Finally. It's what I've been waiting for the past hour. He relaxes in my arms, and I relax with him. It's like all the drinks I had to deny myself until now are hitting my head all at once, with no unpleasant side effects. Radiant. I want this moment to end. It has to. Put his body to the floor and lick the wound closed, just the way she taught me. Pulse is faint but steady. He reeks of booze. When finds him, there should be no suspicions. I walk up the stairwell, insert a finger into my mouth and try to sense my fangs. No dice. Seems they really are retractable. That's handy. Hunger pangs are gone. Rub my hands around my body. Comfortable. Hopeful. Happy. I remember the last time I enjoyed life like this. Now, let's keep this party going.
Which one?
Retributive justice. Two men are facing each other in a dark back alley. One of them stands with his back against the wall, his chest heaving as he's struggling to catch his breath.
Jordan.
People! Anybody out there? I'm being robbed!
Brawny, rugged guy is yelling at mental staircases, the theatrical incredulity in his voice. Lively step, he dances around an older man who's having trouble finding his footing.
Tom.
What is this bullshit?
Oh, so now you can talk. Good, because I'm dying to hear what you do with my wallet, Holmes.
Wallet? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Goon starts prancing around like a
Muay Thai.
Thai boxer. He's smiling, but his eyes send a clear message. Remember, buddy, don't even try to pull a fast one on me.
Come on, homeboy. You may be able to trick an average Joe on the street with your act, but a fighter recognizes a fighter. It's like an animal thing. It's an instinct thing. You've got some moves on you. You're like, shit, you're like a black mamba. Lightning fast reflexes.
Start shadow boxing for a moment. Man's definitely got energy to spare.
However, I'm like a king cobra. You've met your match. 2 apex predators, now locked in battle.
Oh, so you're seeing snakes. Would explain something.
Before he's able to finish, a sucker punch knocks the air right out of his lungs. Old man slides on the wall. Can't out a groan, he's interrupted by a brutal kick to the chest.
That's what I'm talking about. A fighting spirit, even when you're cornered. Take a seat, deep breath, collect your thoughts before you speak up again. Remember where you put my wallet now?
I'm pretty sure you broke my rib.
An eye for an eye, a rib for a ribbing. Biblical punishment. It's only fair, homie.
Fair. At least admit this is a mugging. Wallet, my ass.
Still in denial. Okay. Let's say I had about $5,000 here. Give me $6,000 and I'll let you walk away. Relatively unharmed.
So you admit it.
Admit what?
This is not about proper compensation. This is a robbery.
Look, buddy, this is beginning to bore me. Unless you want me to go all Anderson Silva on your ass, give me what I want.
Anderson Silva?
Yeah, Anderson Silva. The flying knee meeting your solar plexus. The man, the myth, the legend. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Thai boxing, Western boxing, Taekwondo, Wing Chun, and Capoeira combined into a single fighting style that can only be described as straight-up murder. I've been studying the glorious singularity that is Anderson Silva for years. Every move I have, I owe to him. So, if you don't want this snake to turn into a deadly spider, show me the money, honey.
Summer 2013. Las Vegas.
Huh?
Watched it live. Pay-per-view. Edmund saw through all of Silva's tricks. Whooped his ass. Broke his spirit. Showed him for a fraud he is. Man hasn't been the same ever since. All the empty showboating, hollow taunting, drunk on his own Kool-Aid. Jesus, of course you idolize him, asshole.
For a good minute, the goon silently looks down at the whimpering man at his feet, chewing on his lower lip. He finally speaks up. Voice betrays an intent to kill.
You know what, homeboy? Screw the money. This is a matter of honor now.
My thoughts exactly.
Huh.
Raises his fist.
We've got ourselves a mixed martial arts expert, huh? For your own sake, I hope you can give you can back that talk with some self-defense skills, homie.
This is pathetic. Boosting your self-esteem by beating up an injured old geezer? Damn, you're pathetic. Jumps at the sound of my voice, my way in the blink of an eye, and immediately assumes a combat stance. Flexes are sharp. Looks like he has at least this much to back up all his bravado. Wannabe Anderson Silva's face betrays utter confusion upon seeing me. He's got no idea how I managed to sneak up on him. Blame him. I wouldn't be able to explain it myself. I became one with the darkness. Pure consciousness traversing a dusky dreamscape, jumping from one shadow to another as if they were different trains of thought. Think of some experiences I've had with psychedelics, every blink of an adventure. Outside of this alley. Was above the alley. Link. I'm in front of this guy. And he pisses me off. Older man slumps down, like he was trying his best to keep it together. Gave up once the cavalry arrived. Goon regains his composure and barks at me in an overly gruff way.
The hell you sneaking around here for, chica? Move along. This is between men.
And more. His fist turned towards me.
I'm serious. And an equal opportunity ass kicker.
Respond to the threat with the brightest, most innocent, virginal smile I can put on. Oh, you're into shadowboxing, huh? Something comes over me. I can feel the darkness embracing me, whispering sweet nothings in my ear. Me up for what's to come. Brain kick! Cool. But have you ever watched Karate Kid? Before he manages to respond, my foot meets his chin. It was absolutely impractical, but I managed to pack so much strength into it, the guy's body reacts as if he has just received a powerful uppercut. I know what he's thinking. I should have blocked it. And he absolutely should have. Instead, he just flailed his arms helplessly as if he suddenly found himself in front of an oncoming train. Primal expression of fear that suddenly and completely took him over. I don't know how I look right now, but judging by his expression, my best guess is like the gaping maw of some primordial beast. Follow up the surprise attack with another punch to the solar plexus, or at least my nearest estimate. Then, the effect terrifies even myself. My hunch was correct, and I hit the right spot. Falls to the floor, and like a wounded animal, tears streaming down his face. Let him collect himself a bit, and then grab him by his chin. Learn to choose your battles, boy.
Let me go! For Christ's sake, just let me go!
Take him in the direction of the alley entrance. Daggers off, quickly disappearing from my sight. Check on his victim. Looks like he's conscious.
Wow. You whooped his ass, girl.
Hasn't noticed anything out of order. He's getting worried and might have overdone it a bit. The woman did say that keeping a low profile will be crucial if I want to survive. Alright. Help? Manages to stand up. Smile is strained, but it suggests he's fine. Or at least trying his best to seem fine.
Oh, you gave me all the help I needed, and then some. Thank you, miss. What's your name?
Jessica.
Thanks, Jessica. Was worried for a second. This asshole's bark was worse than his bite. Probably in worse shape than me now. Guess that counts as a victory. Better get going. Wife is probably worried sick. Before that, if there's anything I could do to repay you.
Just be more careful. Forget about it. Just be a little more careful in the future, alright? True heroine always refuses compensation for her help. At least, that's how I think things should go. I'd help someone in a street fight.
Something else, Jessica. You never wanted to try your skills in the octagon?
Much in love with my gorgeous face to see it bruised, battered, and swollen. Sorry.
I hear you. Whatever you do next. God bless you.
There he goes. Odd, huh? Feel like one right now. No more worrying about being out after midnight. No more feeling uneasy whenever I spot a shady asshole across the street. Oh, I could start jogging in Central Park after midnight now. Need to. Future's looking bright. Oh, good night. Watch Times Square from above. Beautiful. Never thought this place could make me emotional. Honest. Here I am, feeling deeply moved. I've thought. Getting up here was surprisingly easy, all things considered. I thought than physical effort. Earlier tonight, I started experimenting with this body's limits. I realized I can jump over small buildings and climb steep walls with ease now. The whole perception of space has shifted. Planned a scenic route across the rooftops. Best to avoid attracting attention, just as I was told. Hid in the shadows as much as humanly possible. Spot a drone from afar. For a second, I feel uneasy. Remember what she told me. Minions won't get a clear view of me anymore. Her footage, photos, it's all glitched out or blurry. And take it for granted if I didn't try to catch my reflection earlier on. I couldn't see my face clearly, not in the mirror, not even in a puddle. The face was like one of Dali's clocks. Told me to keep a low profile regardless. I might take note and track you down. I didn't care to elaborate, but it didn't sound encouraging. Suddenly, it hits me. I might never be able to see my own face again. I won't even be able to take care of my looks by myself. What are the long-term psychological effects? Knot of anxiety and tightness in my stomach. This is probably just the tip of the iceberg. What else is going to change? Calm down. Wait a second. These past few nights have been the best of my life. Years I was on a downward spiral, feeling health, no future, and of overwhelming powerlessness. Now, everything has been flipped upside down, a total shift. That ending is no longer the only option. Actually looking forward to tomorrow. Forgot how that feels. Where it used to stand at mere seconds to midnight, the state clock has been effectively turned off. Cold breeze brushes my cheek. Stupid as it sounds, choose to read it as the world telling me to chin up. I can bend anyone to my will. Capable of superhuman strength. Master. Shadows. I can do anything. Tomorrow night, I'll be introduced to my duties. Anything goes according to plan, I'll become a New York City representative and La Sombra. Whoever they are, whatever that means, I have no idea what to expect. Night is tonight. I'm free. All my worries from a month ago feel like they belong to someone else. Finally, things are looking up. March 2020. Located again at Big Beat Burger. Familiar sounds, familiar smells, familiar faces. And I'm recalling that night when everything finally seemed to change for the better. I mean, it's not like I wasn't expecting everything to go back to the old depressing normal. But in the thick of it, the rational part of me recognized my state as temporary. With these highs, there's always a hope it won't end. Maybe that an ego death will finally occur. Be satisfied. Stupid fucking bitch. I command you. Here's all the logical evidence for why you should be satisfied. Here's the obvious direction for your life, and here's a detailed explanation of how you should treat the people that care for you. Dice. Always fall back into the same old habits. They were encoded deep in my DNA. Aimlessness, the powerlessness, the spiritual exhaustion. These goddamn fast food trips. The stupid fucking self-loathing, now amplified whenever I drink somebody's blood. Maybe I should just blame it all on the misfortune of my birth. Do this social climbing until you dissociate, and then you're just this untethered, constantly frustrated ball of dumb desires. Except, I'm sort of mortal right now. I need to figure out what to do next. I watched this obscure Asian movie once by Eli Lema Sabachitani, starring Tadanobu Asano, one of the coolest guys in the world. This is Merzbo, like figure, a legendary noise musician. There's this mysterious virus spraying around the world, despair and mass suicides. Rich CEO's granddaughter, sick and longs to die. He spends a fortune searching for the cure. Turns out Asano and his friend, this violent onsen geisha guy, were traveling through Japan, searching the corpse-strewn towns and fields for any unique item that can produce beautiful sounds. Turns out, avant-garde walls of noise they create are able to heal the infected. CEO begs the band to help, offering them all the money they want, but for some reason, they refuse. As the flashbacks, concerts, and vignettes, a mystery unfolds. Eventually, you realize that Asano's music is not just a remedy, also a cause of the virus. It connects with people, they get this hunger for more extreme, more novel experiences. And eventually, they hit a wall. Nothing can satisfy them anymore. Lose their will to live. Even the musicians are spared from this curse. The end will come sooner or later. Girl is saved by a mind-blowing concert. Tragedy is merely postponed, not averted. A shot of a Jesus-like Asano silently considering his role as savior and destroyer stayed with me. The film was abrasive. Little to no narrative coherence, some weird, cartoonish creative choices, the Japanese noise soundtrack, the very free-form and hard-to-understand weave of themes. At this point, movies like this are all that truly connect with me. I'm the New York City representative of the La Sombra clan now, known as the Night Clan. They're masters of shadows who cast distorted reflections and make modern tech go haywire in their presence. Dear, a few months before I was embraced, the La Sombra had joined with the Camarilla, biggest and most traditional sect in the vampire world. Two groups actually used to fight each other. Leaders found some intel that made them reconsider their strategy. So they sent a diplomatic mission to parley with their historical enemies. The deal they got in Chicago was simple. Unlife for an unlife. Every La Sombra vampire allowed in the ivory tower, La Sombra vampire has to meet their ultimate end. I still remember the name of the woman who met her final death, so I could begin my own life. Her name was Hester Reed, sworn enemy of the Camarilla, guerrilla fighter who spent decades opposing them. She was someone with far better principles than mine, from what I've gathered. Whoever she was, her execution by my sire served to convince the NYC elites to give us the Sombra a chance. Then, they set out to look for a mutually agreed upon candidate who'd become the clan's rep in the city. My sire searched for someone who gave the impression she was more than she appeared. Local court was looking for someone they could walk all over. After long negotiations, I was a good compromise. Proceeded to systematically destroy my entire life just to make me show I was psychologically strong enough to join their ranks. The turncoat special, they called it. How I succeeded. And it eventually led me right back to where I started. Stop writing and put my pen down.
Kelly.
Will that be all?
Yes, Miss Duval, I hope you enjoy your stay in London.
Oh, I very much doubt I will. Just like every cultured person, I think the only good Englishman is a dead Englishman.
Such scum. Must be nice traveling the world and all that.
Curacao, Mogadishu, Shanghai, blood tastes the same anywhere you go. The biggest difference is that your duties become more of a hassle.
Duval, every word you uttered tonight just made you more punchable. That will be all.
Tell Qadir I said hello, and farewell.
Safe travels. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, psycho. Oh, well. I'm the loneless Sombra in this town, and my representational role means jack shit. Title, no perks, no whatever. Now I'm the court's gopher, doing all sorts of work nobody else will touch. Duties? Sort of immigration officer. New York City is probably the biggest vampire travel hub in the USA. Definitely the biggest one on the East Coast. Every kindred, running from Africa and Europe, comes through here. Local Camarilla is nuts about bureaucracy and population control. Every vampire leaving or arriving in this town is supposed to check with me to inform me about their travels. Well, in theory at least. MPs play by the different rules. Care of this stuff through connections and servants. Smaller fish, I'm like a vampire Statue of Liberty. Just a bloodsucker every kindred coming to the NYC should see. Paper, anyway. First, after the prince or Qadir, the Primogen Council, things vary. Yeah, I'm a naturally treacherous La Sombra, so they will prefer being traditional and hands-on about these things. As I said, at the end of the day, I'm just a gopher. This work only serves to remind me I'm not quite in just standing at the gate. They haven't even given me an office. I meet everyone in public places such as coffee shops or this fast food restaurant. Some consider this an insult and lash out at me. Luckily, most of them understand we're in the same boat. We're here because we're curs who need to be reminded of our place from time to time. Speaking of, my last client is 15 minutes late and I still have more errands to run tonight. Ain't irritating. To be honest, just find some self-respect and leave. I won't. Sorry upbringing left me with a stupid sense of responsibility. 10 more minutes pass. Eventually, an unfamiliar woman appears by the door. Tells someone to stand by the door and walks in. Long chestnut hair, body stuck in her late teens by the look of it. Fashionable scarf covering most of her face. Clothes, dignified walk. Signal her to sit in front of me, trying my best to not let my impatience show. She obliges. Your time, huh? Your sweet time, huh? One day, and it will be a beautiful day, learn how to keep all this bitterness in and stop getting in trouble.
Lenny.
Sorry, Miss Sawinski, was it? This is not exactly the kind of place we expected.
She's scanning her surroundings like we're at a circus. If you won't mind if I make it quick, I'm needed in TM. Name?
Katherine Wise.
Huh. I swear I've heard the name before. Someone else's description of her crosses my mind. A weird lady who owns an art hole but is never there?
Weird?
Oh, it is her. Katherine Wise, the owner of the art hole. The headquarters of the New York City Camarilla. Fuck's sake, Julia. What are you doing calling her weird right off the bat? God knows you already made a fool of yourself in front of enough VIPs in the city. Recover! Sorry, it's just that I still don't know many people there, so I have to go by the descriptions I'm given by members of the Promotion.
Well, the description is mostly correct. Outside of that one word that slightly perplexes me. Pot calling the kettle black, sounds like.
Oh, from what I gathered, it's just that your interests are rumored to be, not fully aligned with the Camarillas, and it irks some folks up there.
Being a keeper of the Elysium is not enough for some, I see. I suspected as much. But what can you do?
Seems chill. Seems chill. Good. Anyway, Katherine Wise. Wow.
Yes. Want me to spell it? People often have trouble getting it right.
Forgive my indiscretion. It's just that people of your stature usually don't bother checking in with me. They report their arrival to one of the Promotion and they make all the arrangements.
I heard Prince Panhard is busy with preparations for her big party. I assumed that I spared her some paperwork. She'd appreciate a gesture of goodwill. Besides, I wanted to meet the infamous La Sombra representative of her out of sheer curiosity. My interest piqued once I heard about her.
Looks around knowingly.
Unique circumstances.
Yes, Prince Hellene Panhard had trouble justifying the rent my property would need.
That's literally pennies for her. And as far as I know, she's been sitting on an empty property since last year. Looks like they've got it out for you. Bad.
What I assumed, but it's nice to get a confirmation. It's not like my clan has ever been particularly popular in these parts. That's what I've heard, since of the fathers and so on.
Yes. Just to make sure, you've never met Hester, but you know of her?
I do know I wouldn't be here if not for her. You met?
No, I only heard her once or twice. We had similar outlooks on many issues, although we tended to come up with completely different solutions. In any case, I think it's meaningful that Hester died so that you could live. They feared her. Now they fear you, and that's why they're keeping you down.
If anyone who's not a VIP said this to me, I'd laugh in their face. Oh, I get what she's doing. She's trying to buy my favors. Best not to act like I'm easy to please. Stick to business. And we'll tell. Time, I'll need you to help me out with my documentation.
Of course.
So, where are you coming from?
Washington, D.C.
says it the way people in Hollywood movies say it. A way that suggests her Washington is widely different from the Washington you and I would see. What were you doing there?
Take a guess.
Government work?
Write that down. It ought to amuse Hellene a little bit.
You say so. An hour of arrival? Takes out a plane ticket and slides it towards me.
It's all here.
10 a.m. Got it. Method of transit plane. The visit?
Meeting with Prince ought to work just fine.
Guess. Estimated duration of visit?
Undefined. Write in 6 months if you really need to.
Place of accommodation. Conditions of intended stay?
The art hole. Conditions should be adequate.
Tell me. Tend to be happy with Airbnb. Home sweet home?
I'm not certain that I ever felt particularly at home here.
Makes two of us.
Curious. Do you have nothing holding you here?
Face of a blonde-haired friend appears in my mind's eye, then vanishes. There's nothing holding me anywhere.
I see.
Prolonged silence. She stares into my eyes and I return the stare, studying me. Unnerving, but I do my best not to turn away. Please, she smiles.
Didn't you say you were short on time?
God, yes, Qadir will kill me. I begin to collect my stuff from underneath the table.
You can simply inform him I paid you a visit. He'll understand, and he'll pass it on to everyone who should be in the know.
Do that, yeah. Sure thing.
Good. We will see each other soon, I hope. The party tomorrow night?
I wasn't invited. Gives me a pitying look.
I understand. Well, if it's not given the opportunity, we should make our own. I'll be in touch.
Night, Miss Wise. I wish you a pleasant stay.
Good night. And don't rush these things. You've got your whole unlife ahead of you, and you're in a position where you can take it easy. Take your time. Get a different perspective.
I nod and walk slowly out the door. Instead of the restaurant, I sprint toward the subway. Slow night.
I wish. You're late again, by the way. I hope you have a good excuse.
Dear Al-Asmai, the mighty sheriff of New York City, is not happy with me. Wonder, I met him in front of Elysium 30 minutes later than the time we had agreed on. Yeah, well, Katherine fucking Wise decided to arrive fashionably late.
A likely story. She's supposed to be out of the city.
Think I'm pulling your legs, boss? Feel free to check my report. Some all the official papers, the way I do every other night. Stares me down for a good few seconds, then his steely gaze softens.
You're serious? Wise in McDonald's, with the mask and elegant clothes, surrounded by the smell of French fries and hamburger patties? That must have been one hell of a sight.
Technically, it was BBB, not McDonald's, but yeah. God, I made such a fool of myself. I did, I quoted somebody calling her a weirdo. To die on the spot.
Serves you right, you walking faux pas. I've been trying to teach you to control your tongue, but you never learn. It's a new gaffe every week with you. Still, there's good news and bad news. The good news is, Katherine has a fondness for vampires of humble beginnings. Probably why she decided to see you in your, shall we say, natural habitat.
She's one of those rich art scene assholes who seek out working class cred.
I did say something about watching your tongue. The bad news is, she is very astute, so she can recognize a moron like you straight away. You never stood a chance at impressing her.
Shut up! Me for anything here, and it straight away.
I wouldn't be standing out here chatting with you if I hadn't taken care of my duties. 30 minutes is all it took to finish preparations for the big party. I'm about to see everyone off.
Sorry.
Couldn't be helped, I suppose. And it's more your loss than mine. I just wanted some company tonight, and you could really use the chance to appear here on official duties so everyone can get to know your face. Heaven knows your fast food job isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to, what do they call it? Hustle?
To tell me that. It's not like being paraded around for a bunch of blue-blooded douchebags is... Somehow manages to give me a painful nudge in the back without so much as a hint of visible movement.
Language, you fool! They're coming out! Just stand here in silence for 5 minutes and focus on not embarrassing yourself any further, will you?
Got it. The first two silhouettes appear in the doorway of the art hall. Old man in a wheelchair, pushed forward by his young servant. Haven't seen either of them before.
Mr. Payne, the night is still young. Hope you find the rest of it pleasant.
Payne. Wheelchair. Heard about him. Medicine Payne, one of the American Camarilla's main connections to the government in Wall Street. Labeled in quite a few ways. Servant to communicate. Be full of resentment if I was embraced in this condition, but apparently, Payne is nothing but grateful for his immortality. He's writing fervent defenses of the traditions and Camarilla customs. Stay silent. Wordlessly shakes Qadir's hand. Doesn't even deign to acknowledge me. At least his servant gives me a small bow. I return it. They leave. Qadir turns to the next person leaving.
High Regent. Can't wait to see you in your outfit.
Kelly.
Spare me, Sheriff. These fancy dress parties cause me enough suffering without your help. I can only hope you haven't conspired with Hellene to embarrass me with this gift.
Points to a shrink-wrapped set of clothes she's carrying inside her coat. Her smirks briefly.
I didn't have to. As you well know, Prince Panhard displays a considerable foresight in the matter of party planning.
Yes, if there's one thing she's deathly serious about, it's frivolities.
A recognizably mortal quality, especially for a prince. We ought to celebrate it, not oppose it.
Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm a big girl who knows her etiquette. I'll play your game, amuse the crowd a little bit, and return to my study as fast as possible.
Iselin Sturbridge, High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, a hero of the Battle of New York, biggest warlock in town. She'd be a prince herself if she didn't have her eyes on a bigger prize. Thing is, nobody knows what that prize is. Only know it has something to do with the goal of her Thaumaturgical research. Whoever tried to find out what it is failed.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to have fun. Miss Sawinski here has just informed me Katherine Wise is back in town. It's safe to assume she will join our festivities.
You're kidding me.
She did say she will attend the party. It's not safe to assume, it's certain. She told me she will be here tomorrow night.
Weiss. Excellent. I'd love to catch up with her.
Barely concealed venom in her voice clearly suggests that, in fact, she'd hate to catch up with her.
Yes, it looks like tomorrow night will be very special. But for now, I bid you adieu.
She's gone. Is there some kind of story between Aisling and Wise that I should be aware of?
You could say that. High Regent Sturbridge once attempted to call for a blood hunt on Wise.
Aye.
I've heard 5 different versions of the story, and all of them seem plausible. Catherine's relationship with this city is odd, to say the least. But hush for now.
He's obviously trying to kill the conversation, and the appearance of Thomas Arturo gives him a perfect way out.
Mr. Arturo.
Jordan. Asmai, keep up the good work, eh?
Of course.
Thomas Arturo, an architect by trade. He's a herald, a member of Prince Panhard's inner circle, an eccentric whose thoughts seem to be 10 times faster than his words. Care on your way home. Care on your way to your haven, Mr. Arturo.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Peers into the night. That was brief. Maybe I should stand in their way. Force them to properly acknowledge my existence.
You severely underestimate their dedication to ignoring whelps like you. And just in case you're serious, I beg of you, don't.
Been meaning to ask you this for a while now, but never had the opportunity. Really hate Arturo's guts, don't you? Carefully measures his diplomatic response.
I have no strong feelings about Thomas Arturo whatsoever.
Yeah, well, considering you're always listing positives about every local Camarilla representative under the moon, you might as well have called him a cunt.
Language, whelp. And as for Arturo, I will share my opinion about him as soon as I come up with one that sticks for more than a week.
Group of kindred emerges from the art hall, rushing towards the street. Only a noble-looking woman stops next to us. And she's wearing a hijab. Curiously enough, doesn't hide her hair beneath it.
Primogen.
If you're rude enough to stare, you'll quickly notice the cloth serves mostly to cover up her horrifying scars.
Natalie. Wait, no, Nico.
Qadir. Oh, young Julia.
My best not to stare because Samira is one of the few NYC Camarilla figures who hasn't been an asshole to me yet.
Still here. Did the prince require the clan of the Hunt's counsel in some matter?
Yes. I advised her that no matter how hard she tries, she shouldn't expect me to wear a different costume tomorrow night.
She's the Banu Hakim Jin. Just like the La Sombra, their clan was independent from the Camarilla until relatively recently. However, they negotiated a better deal than we did. I have a Primogen for one. Fleeing from the Middle East, the Banu Hakim are drawn to the practice of justice. Rules must be upheld and every transgression punished. Don't have much say in NYC, but the prince often seeks her judgment. It's just good PR.
I trust she was understanding. Those are beautiful clothes.
Thank you so much. I'm eager to see the outfit you came up with. And how are you, Julia? Have you seen any lights at the end of the tunnel?
Same old, same old. Same old Samira. Still wandering in the dark, bumping in my shin every 2 steps.
Sorry to hear that. I trust you're pestering the prince and your supporters to improve your standing.
It's a process.
Oh, Julia. You won't achieve anything if you don't keep reaching for it. Qadir, weren't you supposed to teach her the ropes?
I'm trying to, Primogen, but with this child, it's always a process.
I can only wish you good luck, then. Good night, Julia. Good night, Qadir.
Good night.
Have a safe trip.
Art Hole has to be almost empty by now. Like her, don't you?
Stop with your class clown act, whelp. It only serves to reveal deep insecurities.
Wow, that's harsh.
It's factual. Were I as harsh as you claim?
You did tell us both to call her Samira, but still keeping your distance with that Primogen shit.
Watch your... Watch your profanity. And don't project your fantasies onto me. I won't give you a lesson about professional boundaries, but I suspect the way you will eventually learn it will be extremely unpleasant.
James.
Something good, folks.
Even though I'm constantly pestering him, his composure is unshaken. His response comes swift and unfazed.
Not at all, Mr. Vanderweyden. Heading back to your office?
You know me, my dear sheriff. Where else would I go?
Now that's curious. Even though Carter Vanderweyden is a Primogen as well, Avian to be precise, I don't hear Qadir address him as such.
Hope to see you tomorrow night.
Oh, I will absolutely show up, provided I can. But just in case, I already apologized for not making it to the prince. Simply drowning in work these days.
Rhythms, tempo, and annotation patterns of his voice are so familiar. Half of it sounds like JFK. The other half, exactly like Barack Obama. His appearance, it all feels so fake. Old money, of course, from a long line of Dutch merchants who originally settled in the New York region. Wildly successful in law office, rubs elbows with elites of both kindred and varieties alike. Seems perfect in every way. That's why he's so unnerving. Out of Malkav and must be blighted with some affliction. Whatever it is, doesn't let it show. Hard not to wonder what he's hiding.
The celebrations are planned to last all week. Surely you will find the time.
I pray I will, my good man. I pray I will. In case you need to reach me, you know where to find me. Have a good one.
I didn't even register my presence before leaving. Sometimes I think they're all still hoping I will simply go away. He drives away in his limousine. Qadir shakes his head.
You wanted to hear about which member of the New York City's Camarilla I disliked the most?
Yes. Shoots me a knowing glance and smirks.
Too bad. They're all my dear colleagues, and I deeply respect every single one of them.
Sure you do. You don't want to blurt out something that could lock you out of Mr. Vanderweyden's legal services, would you, you ass-kisser?
I do expect to find myself in need of a good defense attorney when my broke, incompetent, and foul-mouthed assistant finally pushes me over the edge.
Rude. You still need me here. I still need to swing by St. Patrick's tonight.
Don't worry, we're almost done. The prince is coming out.
Captain is the last person to leave the ship, huh? There she is. Hellene Panhard. Kahuna, as someone I once knew would call her. Facto ruler of New York City and a self-professed patron of the arts.
Nico.
Qadir, a penny for your thoughts?
You should be pleased to hear the High Regent is resigned to her fate, my prince. Mr. Vanderweyden is decidedly not. I suspect he will be too busy to join the festivities all the week through.
Excellent.
He turns to me.
Miss Sawinski, weren't you supposed to accompany a good sheriff at his duties tonight?
There was an unexpected change of plans. Katherine Wise is back in the city.
Katherine is here. Now, that's a welcome surprise. But what does that have to do with you, Miss Sawinski?
I took care of her paperwork. She said she didn't want to trouble you with all the paperwork regarding her arrival, Prince Panhard. And taken care of. Qadir has already been informed of everything.
That's certainly a nice gesture, but wait a minute. Now, where exactly did you meet her?
In a fast food restaurant, my prince.
I see.
Hellene rubs her eyes.
Katherine and her love for potential amusement. Suppose it will be. I suppose it will be. Check. Test. Did it not go
There's
through?
still more text, by the way.
Still more text.
Oh shoot, 1 second.
Are you using
Katherine and her love for potential amusement. I suppose it would be a source of amusement anecdotes this week.
If we want to avoid these situations in the future, it might be a good time to discuss offering Miss Sawinski an office of her own.
We'll get to it, eventually. There are more pressing matters at hand. The festivities start tomorrow, and there's still so much to be done. Will you take her to the art hall? Be secure before leaving?
Certainly, my prince. Have a good night.
Good night, Qadir. Good night, Miss Sawinski. We'll talk about your work soon. Don't worry.
Of course. Good night, Prince Panhard. Chauffeur escorts her to a limo. Awkward silence between me and Qadir. Harv disappears around the corner. More pressing matters, huh? Penny for your thoughts, Sheriff.
I'm certain an image of a keeper in the Elysium stuck in a fast food restaurant will linger in Prince Panhard's mind. You're far closer to your goal than you were a few minutes ago.
I'm pretty sure I've heard you say something to that effect a few times now.
And I stand by my words. Rome wasn't built in a day, Julia.
As a Camarilla loyalist, don't you think it sucks that the Ivory Tower is so hell-bent on showing disrespect to my clan? Actually willing to make fools of themselves in the process?
We've all had to endure our own hazing rituals. But yes, the current situation is not ideal.
Whatever. Need a hand closing up the Elysium?
I'll manage. It's getting late. Better run. Some shadow in Chicago is probably impatient to get a copy of the reports you've given me. You've pleased one master, now it's time to please the other.
Yeah, here's the thing about working for two masters. Neither of them really thinks of you as their own. Knowing how to reply, shrugs. I wave to him goodbye and head for the subway. I reach St. Patrick's Cathedral, led by a voice that grates on me like teeth on tinfoil.
Well. The prodigal daughter returns.
God, no. This is the one thing I didn't want to happen.
Julia, please, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Uh-huh. Where's Father Leonard?
His clergy duties keep him from getting here on time. He sent me to apologize in his name and keep you company for a few minutes.
That's the second thing he ought to apologize for.
As long as his flocks to live in unity, I'm more than willing to oblige him. Why won't you?
The last time I'm not a part of his flock, I have a purely professional arrangement.
Don't see it that way. Knights Clan's tendency to stick close to the Catholic Church is their greatest virtue. They still consider this relationship purely instrumental. That's why we need kindred like you to bring spiritual change to your clan, to make them understand God's precious gifts. The closer they get to the light, the greater the shadows will become.
Again, with this insufferable sermonizing. No, how do you say that?
Benoit.
Benoit Segal here is a local nutjob and an ex-artist, degenerate, who had some sort of complete mental breakdown in the 90s, where he took the religion for solace and guidance. First, he proclaimed his readiness to devote the rest of his unlife to studying Nazism. For a few years, though, he changed his mind and joined the Catholic Church instead. As luck would have it, his neophyte zeal found a major target in me. When I first met him, I was stupid enough to tell him I was raised Catholic, identified as such, somewhat. He immediately pictured me as some sort of a force for change within the Camarilla and set out to put me back on the righteous path. Now he won't stop preaching to me, apparently, until I become a nun.
Remember, the darkest place is directly beneath the candle. The turncase had this unfortunate predisposition to find salvation right within your grasp, and then lose your way in the shadows.
Christ, once he starts, he just won't stop. It's time to bring out the big guns. By the way, I was meaning to ask, got any news about Sophie Langley? Painful grimace crosses his face, but doesn't linger.
Kinda rude to change the subject, you know?
Rude. I'm just looking for a topic both sides of this conversation would care about. Oh, like any guide on etiquette says you should.
Salvation is a topic close to anyone's heart. Whether I admit it or not, it's pretty bold of you to assume I still care about Langley.
Don't assume. Certain you do. Second she retires from the public eye, stop acting like Jesus era Kanye and start acting like Jesus' Kane era Kanye. Coincidence?
I don't have a Jesus era. Do you really call it that?
How it's going to work. Tell me what you know, I'll tell you what they say. In mind, I didn't know she was your sire until a few nights ago. I haven't even met her. He winces a bit at me saying, hell, but lets it go.
Sure. I figured would have prodded that wound long ago if you knew. Well, what do you care, anyway?
I'm gonna let you drone on about your tormented past and to let you carry on with your good missionary shtick. Professional curiosity. As a journalist, always a journalist. Scratches his head, exhales in a sad mockery of a chuckle.
Fine then. I do my best to make it short. Just like you said, Sophie Langley, every New York's kindred's beloved socialite, was Messiah. We first met over some time after World War II. I left France right before the Nazi went around the marginate line, tried to keep my siblings alive with my art. Watched my brothers die during the flea epidemic of '43. I was close to losing my mind. That's when she showed up. To the sheer torment in my work, caught her eye. She became a patron, allowed my talents to flourish, and supported me financially. Eventually, she embraced me. As a well-off kindred, my artistic interests started to naturally deviate from what they used to be back when I was a poor mortal upstart. I began to see the world the way her social circle does. And that, she couldn't forgive. To be a fun novelty, I became just another part of the malaise surrounding her. She grew distant and then stopped seeing me altogether. My shared meltdowns because of this, I won't deny that. I locked myself out of many career opportunities. But it was an important lesson. Don't trust your elders. Vampirism affects them psychologically as well. Take interest in you? Don't stop until they suck your soul dry, then discard you like a broken toy.
The first time since I've known him, Sturbridge stirs to me as something other than a Bible. Being nuisance. The compassion I feel, do I find him relatable? Well, it's possible he's strategically trying to elicit sympathy. Maybe he heard about my dramatic exit from Lodestar. Maybe he's just alluding to the way my sire left me here to fend for myself.
It's only God who will lead you, never lead you astray. That's why I find your act so frustrating, Julia. You're so close to getting it, but you choose sin instead.
There's a Benoit Seagull I know. Almost had me fooled. Back on track. What about Langley's disappearance from the city?
Her path is a road to perdition. Wherever she ended up, I doubt she's too happy about it. She had plans for the future of the city. I want to make it her ultimate artwork. She was always the vain one.
And of course, you're completely sure you have nothing to do with her disappearance?
Please don't tell me you're getting at what I think you're getting at.
Everybody says you've been acting like you're trying to repent for something ever since her vanishing act. And you've got a motive. Of course, I'm getting at what you think I'm getting at. Benoit shakes his head.
You really have the devil in your heart, Julia. Always testing me.
Just asking what everyone's thinking.
Are they now? Listen, I'm familiar with a lot of the insults attached to my name in this city. Those are exactly compatible with the image of a ruthless killer.
Killer, huh? That's interesting. I haven't said anything about killing. Scrubs his hand over his forehead and collects himself before responding.
Stop picking apart every word I say in this completely unpleasant way. Here's a statement you really want, Miss Hercule Poirot. I do believe Sophie, the way I knew her, has met her end. If she's still walking this earth, she would come back here as a same prideful aristocrat. She had to undergo a spiritual rebirth. Someone has reminded me of her place. Her former friends talk of her in hushed voices. Even that servant played to her went missing. No more Camarilla parties. She's done for. Whatever happened to her? I don't know. Certain Jesus and his sandals had nothing to do with it. But yes, I'm still here and she's not. It's not a reason to be glow, but to be more humble. I received a sign from God telling me to re-examine all the unfortunate ways I still resemble Sophie Langley. And I listened. I rejected the pride I shared with her. I renewed my vows to God, recommitted to preaching His greatness. I mean, this is why we're having this conversation in the first place. But now, when I think of Langley's influence on my life, I'm grateful because she was the sign that got me here. If God wills it, maybe one day you'll look at her the same way, Julia.
Well, note, whenever he circles back to his preachy tone, it's time to intervene. Alright. Makes you feel any better? I think that the only way a wimp like you could have hurt her was by boring her to death with Bible quotes.
No then, quid pro quo, tit for tat. You were saying people would still talk about me. I was curious if...
Oh, look who's finally here. Line for time worked. Leonard rushes in her direction, carrying a folder of documents under his arm. I assume it's the one I came here for. For Leonard?
James.
Christ be praised, Julia. Yesterday I was told this is how priests greet their parishioners in Eastern Europe.
Forever and ever. Amen. I think we said each other's lines. Never mind. Another long night? Isn't it taking a toll on you?
No need to worry. These days I sleep a few hours a day, short naps, and take care of the rest. And there's always work to be done. I apologize for being late. At least I managed to get here before you and Benoit went for each other's throats. Good. I was getting worried.
Oh, who do you take me for, Father?
Takes you for a total bozo who's about as effective as converting people as documentary about pedophilia in the Catholic Church. You kind to say it out loud.
Ouch. You want to deal with, Father? But don't worry. We'll make a saint of her yet.
Forget saint. For now, I'll settle for an adult in the room.
It's what you are for. Isn't that what you are? Isn't that what you are for?
I've been patient with that role, but by now you kids should be moving out. Not leaving crayon marks on the walls and throwing food around anytime Daddy's not looking. So let's just focus on our grown-up duties, shall we, Julia? Here.
He gives me a folder he was carrying with him. Ask him the reports I wrote earlier tonight. Among kindred, it is common knowledge that the Catholic Church is one of the La Sombra's greatest assets. Hell, it might even be one of the main reasons the Camarilla is slowly warming up to the clan. Technologically impaired, and as such, woefully unprepared to face the challenges of communication in the 21st century. Hard to handle advanced encryption when you can't even unlock a smartphone. This is where the Vatican connections enter the picture. A web of priests scattered all around the world exchange our dispatches between each other, making sure they all reach their destinations in total secrecy. I was told not everyone in the Holy See is friendly to our kind, but the most shrewd and talented usually are. Could say, like a mortal Camarilla, better than any intelligence agency. Remember what happened to John Paul first when he attempted to uncover the workings of the Institute for the Works of Religion? Death after 33 days of papacy. Rumors of CIA and Masonic involvement. That Father Leonard has anything to do with any of this. Catholic priest, he's alright. He'd probably have made me stay a believer a few years longer than I did, known him as a teenager. Leonard is intelligent, kind, helpful towards his parishioners, treats his superiors with a healthy dose of skepticism, and is not involved in any sort of political church games. Well, at least not beyond helping me contact my bosses in Chicago every other night or so. About the kindred, and he knows about the Second Inquisition. He opted to avoid the latter in order to keep the former from oppression, because according to him, the right thing to do. I know there's got to be something wrong with him, selfish motivation maybe. I haven't nailed it down, yet. It doesn't feel like he's making an effort to hide it. I'm giving him a pass.
By the way, I hope you don't mind. I finally took the liberty of asking how your parents are doing.
Thank you, Father, but you shouldn't have.
Not a problem. A priest at St. Stanislaus Kostaka is a good friend. He says your parents started showing up every Sunday again. Front rows. Your father is looking better and better.
Makes me feel nothing. I still give him a token nod and a grateful smile. Thank you, Father Leonard. If you'll excuse me, the sunrise is almost here.
Yes. Be careful, and God bless you.
Amen. Goodbye, Julia. I'll let you off the hook this time. Next time, you won't be so lucky, alright?
Sure, just one more thing on my never-ending list of events I'm not looking forward to. It's time to call it a night. I'm home.